afternoon, happy crafters, how are you all? Thank you for joining me, Toni Darroch, live in my studio. Thank you so much for all your kind words and support in relation to my mouth on Monday. It is a lot better, still need to do a little bit of work on it unfortunately, but I'm on the mend, so it's all positive. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, thank you so much. It's a great place to visit and it's a great place to come and get some inspiration and some crafty ideas if you've lost your mojo, or if you just want to come and grab a cup of tea and sit down and have half an hour to yourself. It's a great place to come to. If you're watching over on Facebook, don't forget to pop a comment with relation to if you enjoyed the demo. Is it something you'll try? Is it something you've already done and been successful with? And if you're watching over on YouTube, don't forget to click the subscribe button. This allows you to get all the notifications needed when we're going live, when we're pushing promotions, to tell you what's coming in the up and coming months. And it's also to let you know of some fabulous maybe sales or gifts, free gifts that we're doing. So all you need to do is click the subscribe button for that one. So on Monday we launched our Christmas products, and as you've been watching over on Facebook, you will have seen some of the lovely makes so far. I am going to be posting a make every single day, so you'll be able to get an idea of what's to come on the 20th over on Create and Craft Live, and it's a blockbuster, which is amazing. I am so excited, and I can't wait to have the opportunity, the airtime and the hours to give you some demonstrations, you know, because a lot of the time the products sell out and we don't get the opportunity to show you. Hence the reason why we do live studio, but it is still nice live on air on Create and Craft to get the most out of the products and show you what you can do with them before you buy them, if you like them. If you do like any of the products we're going to use today in studio, all you need to do is pop onto the website and pop Foxtrot FBL into the search engine, and it brings up everything that we've used today in studio and over the course of the last few days. But if you are watching and don't have the products, please don't turn off. It's not a case of selling products over on this YouTube channel, although it is nice if you do buy the products. We do encourage you to go through your stash and see if you've got an alternative that might work. You know, these products are not cheap, so we need to just keep revisiting older products, new products, and products that you've got from other companies also. I haven't even said who I am really. My name is Toni Darroch and I'm a guest presenter on Create and Craft TV, and I love stamps, dies, ink. I love ink and I love to just play. So I'm hoping that the studio will encourage you guys to do the same at home. If you did buy the goodie bag on Monday, well done. You should be landing maybe today or tomorrow. I hope you are pleased with them. There are some fabulous products within those goodie bags, and some products that have been some of our best selling products. So I'm so excited to see what you all think when you get them. There are still a few goodie bags left, so if you are a club member here with us at Stamps by Me, you can always pop on and have a look and see if there's anything that you like on there. So that's enough of me talking. You can tell my mouth's okay now, can't you? That's enough of me talking. I'm just going to go and show you the products that we're going to be using live in studio today. So I'm revisiting some of our earlier products because I love to revisit some of the products that people absolutely loved. And it's these 4 products here. Now, if you are watching for the first time, you may have not seen these products. If you are a regular customer of ours and watch all the time, that's brilliant. I'm going to show you some alternative ways to use these products. So if you have got them in your stash, maybe dig them out, maybe have a play this evening or tomorrow, and you know, just enjoy yourself. That's what it's about basically. So these are our deco plates. So we have the large A5 stamps, so you get the big creeper, you get the beautiful words, and then you get your coordinating die. So what these basically do is they create an instant card. So your top folding note cards, little to no effort, and you can create a beautiful looking card. And in this one here, the sentiments in here are beautiful. So we have a heart with wings, will touch the sky, have fun, celebrate new beginnings, and this one here, I can't quite see because of the reflection, unfortunately. A true friend is one who overlooks the broken fence and admires the flowers of friendship. That's a beautiful one, is that one? That's great for an insert, is that one. So we have that one there, and that one's called Flowers of Friendship. And we're also going to be using Love and Sparkle. So again, it's a large A5 stamp set, and then you get all the block sentiments in there. And these block sentiments there fit within this image, and what's great about them is they coordinate beautifully. You can see it's quite a bulky image, so it lends itself really well to the beautiful sentiments in there. And then you get the coordinating die as well, which again creates an instant looking card. So let's crack on straight away with the demo. So today's demos are going to be predominantly technique based, albeit I will pop them all onto some cards, but I just want to show you the different ways you can use these beautiful stamps, because it's got a lot of detail in there and you can use them over the course of many mediums in your stash. So let's get cracked on. So I'll just set them ones aside, and we'll use mine, which are well loved ones, as you can see. So first off, I'm going to use this one. I'll just pop it on here so you can see. I'm going to use a large image on there. So a couple of techniques on how to use these then. So I'm going to do a little bit of heat embossing. What I will do is I won't confuse you. I will use one stamp and one die set, and then we'll move on to the second stamp and die set, if that's okay. So what I've got here is just a piece of cardstock, and we're going to create like a bleed but then a defined look at the same time. So I'm just going to take this from the carrier sheet. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop it in this corner here. Now I'm not going to use the die for this demonstration, I'm just going to use the stamp. So I have also with me a whole host of watercolour pens. Now I love my Tombow pens, but check what you've got in your stash. Your Tim Holtz ones will work. I think your Marvella Plume ones will work. As long as they're water based, you'll be absolutely fine, and any colours will work. Don't worry about creating muddy messes or anything like that, because really any colour works for this sort of technique. So let's go ahead and create a card. So I'm just going to pick, for this demo, I'm just going to use one colour, and I'm going to use this one. So I have got a red one here, but the lid's missing. My son's clearly been playing. So I'm just going to pick up this stamp, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the water-based pen on its side all over the stamp. So I'm just basically brushing this lovely, can you see this brush nib here? I'll just show you this brush nib here. So the brush nib needs to be really like this if you can. If you've got something like that, perfect, thank you. So all you're going to do, I'll just set this aside for you, you can see there, is with the side of the nib on there, we're going to just brush it over this stamp. Now you're not going to be able to see it, unfortunately, but it's okay. For this technique, you'll soon get a true look of what it's going to look like. So I'm just brushing over the side. And what will happen is the stamp will resist the ink a little bit. That's what happens with clear stamps. But I'm not overly concerned about it, because it helps me with the technique I'm trying to achieve. So just on its side, one colour all over. And then what I'm going to do is just move this back in, is I'm just going to spray this piece of cardstock so it's a little bit wet. I'm not going to saturate it, just a spray. And then I'm also, I'll just wait till we've panned out for you, there we go. And I'm also going to spray the stamp as well, just very lightly. And then what will happen is the stamp will completely bleed. Give it a good old push down. And when you take it off, look what happens. You get this like beautiful watercolory look. Now if there's places where you've missed, that's okay. Just move that in so it doesn't move, and just go over again. So I've missed a little bit of this corner here, so I'm going to go right into that corner. Get plenty of colour on there. So if you had like 10 pens, you could create 10 cards, all in different colours, and it would look absolutely fabulous. So I'm going to spray the stamp again. What will happen is you'll do it at home, and if you wet the stamp too much and you get too much of a bleed, don't worry about it. You won't do it again when you come to do it for the second time. So we've got our like backgroundy thing going on here. So to take it to the next level, that is a beautiful card in itself. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray it a little bit more, just to get a bit more of a bleed on there, and it will come to fruition why in a second. So I'm just going to let that bleed out and do its magic. We have done this technique before, about a year and a half ago. It is on one of our videos. So I do encourage you to go back and have a look at those, because again, different techniques for different cards. So I'm just going to blast this off with my gun, speed it up a little bit. So it looks like a little bit of a fuzzy mess at the moment, which is what really we want for our first layer. So always remember not to move your stamp though, because the second part has to be in the same position. Try and get it as dry as possible. Try and be patient. If you're anything like me, you'll just go ahead and do it. So I think we'll just go for it now. Just get rid of that one. Right, I'll just make sure that my stamp hasn't moved there, because I think my mat moved. That's okay. So I'm going to do exactly the same process with the pen. Now you can use the same colour or a different colour. I'm going to go in with the same colour, so I'm just going to go straight over the stamp. Remember to use the side of your brush, because you will ruin your pen if not. So straight on the side. And like I said before, don't worry if you miss places, because obviously if you've got a stamping aid, it helps. So I can't really see if I've got it on there, but it's not a great drama. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to stamp it straight on top. Just going to do it again. Can you see how the detail's now coming out? I think my stamp's still a little bit wet. Let's just get rid of some of the water on my stamp. And what happens is, with this specific technique, it gives you like a burnished wood effect. So if you do it in brown, it looks like a brown burnish. You know, like if you put a laser onto wood, it looks fabulous. But I'm trying to do it in bright colour so you can see in studio how fabulous it's going to look. So make sure I've got all colour on there, best I can anyway. I suppose you could use an ink pad if you wanted to. Oops. If you haven't got any pens, an ink pad would probably work. Can you see now how the details come into life? It actually looks like you've watercoloured it on there, doesn't it? It's fabulous. I am just going to do it one more time. I absolutely love this technique and the results are amazing. And it's down to colour preference. Pick a colour you really, really love and you're bound to love this technique. See how lovely that looks. The detail in there is amazing. So you need a stamp that's got quite a bit of detail in there, if you can. Lots of heavy shading. So now simply for this one, I'll just get rid of the stamp for a second. So in the stamp set you get this beautiful bold sentiment, so I'm just going to pop this to the side for now. And in black I'm just going to pop the sentiment straight through my artwork. Make sure your artwork's dry before you obviously pop your sentiment on there, or else it'll just bleed. See how fabulous that is? So if you were to mount that now onto a top folding note card with some sparkle behind if you wanted to, instant card. So that's one great way of using these solid stamps. So if you are wanting to use it with the die, I'm going to show you exactly the same stamp but using it with the coordinating die. It's absolutely fabulous, is the coordinating die, and it can take your card making to that next level if you are into your die cutting. So I'll put how's that sentiment back on there for now. So the die that we're going to use is obviously the coordinating one. And it's quite a big die. It's gone and stuck to my magnet, look. So I'm just going to get a piece of cardstock, a piece of black, because that's what we're going to be working with. And I'm just going to run this through the die cutting machine. So I'm just going to place it face down onto my black cardstock. I'm just going to pop it onto my die cutting plates. So for this one I'm using the Cut and Boss. It's the one that's plugged in today, but it will fit through your snap also. So if you're not an inky person, which I appreciate a lot of people aren't, and you are your classic card, clean looking cards, then these are fabulous for that. And then what happens is you get this beautiful frame. Okay, so you just pop out the little elements on there, so we're ready to go with that one. So I just set that aside. Clean that in a second. So I'm going to pop this beautiful frame into my Eureka. Now you're not going to be able to see it unless I put something behind, but I think it will be okay. I'm just going to turn my mat over because it's got a bit of damp on there from when we did our spraying. So I'm just putting my artwork into my Eureka and I'm going to hold it in place with the magnet. Then I'm going to grab the stamp, what we've just used. And as you can see, the stamp just fits seamlessly within that frame. Now you do get a 1mm border around, so if you were worried about maybe not getting it right, don't worry about it. It probably will still be okay. So pick up that stamp. What I am going to do is just clean the stamp though from our watercolouring techniques. So we're going to heat emboss this one, so I'm using an anti-static bag. This gets rid of any moisture on the card, any fingerprints, makes your artwork look lovely and clean and crisp. And then I'm going to be using the Versamark sticky ink. I'm just going to do lots of light taps all over the stamp. And when I'm happy it's covered, so I can see that stamped perfect. So just grab some scrap paper and we will use a, so it shows clear on set, I am going to use a sparkly one, sparkly embossing ink. I'm certain a lot of you will have your beautiful embossing powders. See that? The detail on there looks quite cool. So as always with your heat embossing powders, you need to heat set them with a gun. So don't forget to do that. So I'm going to get my gun hot, and that'll get less warp in the card. Less time spent on the card means less warp in your card. So as soon as I've got it on, the powder should start to change immediately. So you can see how fabulous that frame is. So now if you wanted to, you could just pop this straight onto a black top folding note card like so, if you wanted to. But what I am going to do is I'm going to frame the work. I'm going to stick it onto this gold and then onto my card. So let's just set this aside. So I am going to use the Precision glue tip. This is back in stock soon. This just helps me in the intricate areas not to get any glue in any other place other than where I need it. So when I'm happy it's in place, just going to give myself a little gold border around there, and we'll trim it once it's dry. Just give it a second to adhere. Just set that aside, and I'm just going to put my die cutting plate on top of it. Maybe it'll hold it down for me while I move on to the next demo. We'll come back to that one. So in the next demonstration, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the lovely Lily one, which is this one. So again, it's exactly the same concept, but it's filled in. The whole place is filled in really, but it's got a lot of shading in there, so you can create some beautiful cards again. So let's go ahead and do this one. But what I'm going to show you this time is how to get like a multicolored image out of it. So I'll just set this aside. I'm just going to grab just a normal top folding note card. Now there is a coordinating die with this one, and it's exactly the same concept as the other one. So I'm just going to grab my Eureka. And this is a top folding note card, so we're not going to use the die on this one, we're just going to go with the stamping side of it. So again, in the centre of my card, I'm going to, which way shall we go? We'll go this way. Just going to put it face down in the centre of my card. And then we'll pick the stamp up. I'll just check to see if this is drying nicely. Seems to be doing okay, we'll see. So again, same concept with the pens, but this time we're going to do let's swap the colours out a little bit. We'll do a lime green, a pink and a aqua colour. So I'm just going to go random with them really. So let's go with the green first. So I'm just brushing the green straight onto the stamp. Again, I'm using the side of the nib, but this time we're not going to create the bleed. Whatever demonstration I'm using on this one, you can use on the other one and vice versa. So don't restrict yourself. All the techniques work with all the stamps. So we'll go with a bit of green first. We'll pop a bit of pink on the ends. It's hard to see if the stamp's covered, but like I say, if you have excuse me, a stamping aid, you've got the facility to keep going. And then we'll bob a little bit of this lime green in. Right, I can't see where I'm going now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a little spray and we'll stamp it out and see what happens. I've missed there, look. We'll go back on that one though. Can you see how you get this beautiful background? Try not to move your artwork if you can. I've missed a whole area here, look. So what we'll do is we'll go back in with, I think we'll like the green. Let me just see which bits we missed. So the whole of that stem, this corner, and this one, which is this part here. Is that right? Yeah. So much fun you can have just playing, basically. So make sure I get my mic in there. I'll just lift that up and show you. Can you see how you've got the multicoloured image on there? It's absolutely fabulous. Now if you dry that off, oh, maybe not. So ahead of time I cut a sentiment which you could quite easily stick on there if you wanted to, with a 3D foam pad, and that's your card absolutely ready to go. But let's use the die this time. So I'm just going to, let's see if my plates, move this out of the way for now, and we'll move on to the die. So the die is exactly the same size as the other one and does exactly the same thing. Just seeing if our artwork's drying nicely. It is drying, thank goodness. And see how lovely that looks. So we will come back to that one. So what I'm going to do this time, just grab a piece of white cardstock again for this one. Get rid of all the bits on there, otherwise it will mark my work. So just a white piece of cardstock this time, pop plate on there face down, and this will cut the whole element out. And all the elements just drop out, look. Then you get this beautiful, like, oh, excuse me, die cut element on there. So just set this aside. So for this demo, I'm just using normal everyday cardstock, white cardstock, nothing fancy. I would say with the bleed technique though, maybe use a watercolor card, you'll get a better result, if you can. So what we're going to do is here, so I'm just going to trim this piece of cardstock down because we're going to create a background for this one. So this is going to show you how lovely the background will show through your artwork. And I'm going to do it the same size as my actual piece of card. So all I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to create a little bit of a pastel background. So if you have our pastels, brilliant. These are still in stock, but you might already have pastels. So as you can see, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to go red at the top. So I'm just going to absolutely go for it. So scribble across the top. Now these give beautiful, vibrant backgrounds, so don't be scared to challenge yourself and just have a go, because the results are simply amazing. So I'm taking it as far as I can, and then what I'll do is I'll trim it down. So right to the edge. So then red would lead us on to an orange. And I'm doing the blocks of colour about 1 inch. It looks like a kid's done it, don't worry about it. This is how it all starts out. And then into a lighter pink. Not quite light enough, isn't that one? Let's try this one. That's better. So we'll just set this aside. And I'll just grab some tissue. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it a good old rub. Get rid of any white patches. And you get this super vibrant background, which I honestly think you cannot achieve with ink. No ink on the market is going to give you a background which is super vibrant like this. It's really difficult to achieve. So this is just a bit of general tissue. There we go. So what I am going to do is I've just got some inexpensive hairspray, and I'm just going to set this. I'm just going to give it a spray with some hairspray. And then it's set. Like so. So set that aside. So with our lovely die cut element, which is this part here, I'm going to pop this into the Eureka, hold it in place where there's a space, just set this aside while it dries. And then this time with this one, I'm just going to do it in black. So if you are not an arty person and not sure on what colours work well together, this will still work because the background is quite colourful. So I'm just placing this face down, and again you get the 1mm border around there. Like so. And just stamp this one out in black. And this is really where you get to see the true beauty of these actual stamps. And I mean, you can stamp them in blank and watercolour them and they look absolutely stunning. But what I'm trying to do in studio today is just show you some alternative ways, just simply because I know a lot of you have already got these products and are probably thinking, oh, I didn't think of that one, I'm going to get them out, I'm going to have a play. which is fabulous. So there you can see how beautiful that is if you wanted to just add some sparkle with your sparkle pens, which is what we will do. So I'll just set this aside. So I'm just going to glue this straight onto here. That's okay. And then what we'll do is we'll trim it down. So plenty of glue behind. Like so. Now you could leave the border if you wanted to leave the border, it's entirely up to you. I'm just going to give that a second to adhere, and I'm just going to go back and revisit this black one and just add a little bit more glue behind there because it's not quite stuck as I'd hoped. So I'm just adding a little bit more on there whilst that one's drying. But there are so many things that you can do with these. I have to say that these are some of my absolute favourites, these ones. So I just need to give it a second for everything to dry, which if you're impatient like me is not good. But anyway, so what we'll do is we'll get these two onto some cards. I'm just going to pop that under my plate again, give it a second to dry. So this is just to show you the backgrounds we did. So 2 different types of backgrounds that you could achieve just using those techniques I've shown you. This one seems like it's stuck quite well. So I am going to trim this down. Now you could leave this beautiful border around if you wanted to, but I am going to take it off. Just be mindful though, you don't get a mucky paw print like I've just done there. Because I'm trying to get it completed in the show. And then if you mount this onto here, which I'm going to pop, I could 3D foam pad it, but I'm just going to go for the glue. You see there how lovely that is? I'm just going to stick this one on with a pad. So this is the sentiment from your free members gift. So a lot of you again will probably have this one. So you could pop some gems or whatever you liked behind that one. So just set that one aside. Let's revisit the black and gold. That's okay, I think. So we'll trim this one too. You could actually leave it as is, because if you popped it onto a black top folding note card, you would have a nice border around, can we see there? Which is quite cool. I think we'll go with that one, just to be a little bit different. So it's left a beautiful like black border around there. I don't know if you can see that. Just make sure it's straight. So you can see there how lovely that looks. And then ahead of time, what I did was, I cut the happy birthday in black and gold from the free members gift. I'll just grab a foam pad for that one. Didn't really need to cut that one. Just going to grab a smaller pad, because what will happen is on the latter end of this sentiment it will sink without the pads. So there we have 2 fabulous cards there, and then but not forgetting the lovely techniques which you can achieve using the products as well. So bleeding technique, pastel background technique, heat embossing technique, they lend themselves so well to that. Multicolored one as well, which that has to be one of my favourites. A very simplistic, beautiful card, and it doesn't matter what colours you use, you always get a great result. So I hope you've liked today's studio. I hope you might have picked something up, maybe just one little tip or something to carry you forward into your own card making. So I'm back with you on Monday at 4 p.m. and we have something new and exclusive to show you on Monday. So stay tuned and have a great evening, whatever you're doing. Take care, everyone. Bye.